What if I told you that one of the biggest discoveries in human history was actually wrong? What if the sun really is the center of the universe? Before you dismiss that, hear the case out, because it is far stronger than you think. Every planet we have ever found in our solar system revolves around one object. Every asteroid, every comet, every moon, every dwarf planet, every drifting chunk of ice at the frozen edge of everything we know. Every one of them obeys the sun. The sun holds more than 99% of all the mass in our solar system. Every planet, every moon, every asteroid combined is barely a rounding error beside it. It gives us light, warmth, weather, seasons. Every calorie of food you have ever eaten traces back to it. Doesn't that sound exactly like what the center of everything should do? Maybe we have been looking too far away. Maybe the answer has been shining above us the entire time. So let's build the case properly. Imagine you have never seen another galaxy. You have never looked through a space telescope. You have never heard the words black hole. What evidence would you actually have? You would have the sun rising every single morning. You would have crops that die without it, and winters that arrive when it sits lower in the sky. You would have the most dominant object in the heavens by an enormous margin. And then astronomers discover something astonishing. Every known planet circles the sun. Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn. Every one of them follows the same master, on the same plane, in the same direction. That is not a coincidence. That is a pattern. And patterns point to something. In 1543, a Polish astronomer named Nicholas Copernicus published the idea that changed everything. Earth was not the center, the sun was. And crucially, he did not just mean the center of our neighborhood. He meant the center of all creation. The evidence kept stacking up. Johannes Kepler worked out the mathematics of planetary orbits and found they only made sense with the sun at the focus. Galileo pointed a telescope at Jupiter and saw moons circling it, proving that not everything orbits Earth. He watched Venus move through phases like our own moon, something that was simply impossible unless it was traveling around the sun. The sun's gravity reaches across billions of miles. Even Neptune, 30 times farther from the sun than we are, cannot escape it. If the solar system were a kingdom, the sun would be its unquestioned king. Then, in 1785, the astronomer William Herschel did something remarkable. He counted stars in every direction and drew the first map of our star system. And in his map, the sun sat close to the middle. So there it was. Observation, mathematics, and a map of the heavens, all pointing to the same conclusion. The sun is unique. There is only one. Everything else exists because of it. Remove Jupiter, and life on Earth continues. Remove Saturn, and nothing here changes. Remove Earth entirely, and the solar system carries on without us. Remove the sun, and everything dies. How could something that important not sit at the center of reality? There is just one problem. Every argument you have just heard convinced the finest minds of their era. Some of it convinced humanity for centuries, and every single piece of it is misleading. Let's take it apart. The first mistake was the deepest one. We assumed that importance means centrality, that whatever matters most must occupy the middle. It doesn't. The sun matters enormously to us because we happen to be standing on a rock that depends on it. That tells you about our situation. It tells you nothing about our address. The second mistake was assuming that our neighborhood represents the universe. Everything nearby orbits the sun, so surely everything else must too. It doesn't. Our solar system is one gravitational system among an unimaginable number of others. The third mistake was trusting a map built with tools that could not see far enough. Herschel's star counts placed the sun near the middle for a reason nobody understood at the time. Vast clouds of interstellar dust were blocking his view in every direction, making the star field look symmetrical when it was not. He was not looking at the center of the galaxy. He was looking at the edge of what his telescope could reach. Then humanity built better instruments, and the universe exploded in size. In 1918, an astronomer named Harlow Shapley mapped the positions of globular clusters, dense balls of ancient stars scattered around our galaxy. They were not spread evenly around us. They were clustered heavily toward one region of the sky. Those clusters orbit the galactic core, so their center of gravity marks the true middle, which meant the real center of our galaxy was over there, and we were not anywhere near it. 6 years later, Edwin Hubble settled an even bigger question. Those faint smudges astronomers had cataloged for centuries, the ones assumed to be gas clouds inside our own star system, were not inside it at all. Andromeda was a separate galaxy, unfathomably far away, filled with its own hundreds of billions of stars. The Milky Way was not the universe. It was one island among many. Today, we know there are hundreds of billions of galaxies, possibly trillions, spread across everything we can observe. And our sun? It sits roughly 27,000 light-years from the center of the Milky Way, out on a minor spiral arm, quietly circling like billions of other stars. It takes about 230 million years to complete a single lap. The center of everything turned out to be a perfectly ordinary yellow star sitting quietly in the galactic suburbs. But here is where it becomes genuinely difficult to believe. Modern astronomy does not merely tell us the sun is not the center. It tells us something far stranger. The universe may not have a center at all. In 1929, Hubble made another discovery. Distant galaxies are moving away from us, and the farther away a galaxy is, the faster it recedes. The obvious conclusion would be that we are at the center of some enormous explosion, with everything fleeing outward from our position. That is not what is happening. Space itself is expanding, not galaxies flying apart through space, but the space between them stretching. Picture dots drawn on a balloon as it inflates. No dot is moving across the rubber, yet every dot drifts away from every other one. And when space stretches everywhere at once, every observer sees the same thing. Stand in a galaxy 10 billion light-years away and look around. You would see galaxies rushing away from you in every direction, and you would conclude that you were at the center. You would be exactly as right as we are. Which is to say, not at all. The Big Bang was not an explosion at a point in space. It was an expansion of space, happening everywhere simultaneously. There is no location you could fly to and find the spot where it began. There is no edge to sail off. There is no middle. We spent thousands of years moving the center, from Earth to the Sun to the galaxy. And then we discovered there was never a center to move. But the story is not finished. Everything we have just described applies to the observable universe, the portion of it close enough for light to have reached us since the beginning. Beyond that boundary, we genuinely do not know. The universe may be finite. It may be infinite. It may extend so far that the region we can see is less than a grain of sand on an endless beach. So here's the question worth sitting with. If we were wrong about Earth, and wrong about the sun, and wrong about the galaxy, and wrong about a center existing at all, then what are we still wrong about right now? Because somewhere out there is the next thing we are completely certain about. And somewhere out there is the telescope that will prove us wrong again. If you want more like this, hit subscribe. There is a whole universe left to unveil.